Hey guys, this is Miss Kitty, your photo teacher, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how to use stock images of fire and flames to make a portrait, in your case one of your action shots that you took over the last couple weeks, look like the figure or the person is on fire. Now I'm going to be using this same image, and this is actually a stock image, and I will have this in the L drive for you guys if you want to use this to follow along with first. But then what I want you to do is I want you to take one of your own personal photos and do the same tutorial and apply what you've learned doing this tutorial. If you want to try using just one of your photos right off the bat, you can try that too, but if you want to use the stock image first, try it, and then try it again with your picture. That's an option too. Alright, so this is the image that I'm going to be using. The first thing you want to do is make two copies of your background layer. So you can go up to Layer, Duplicate Layer, and you can rename it. Just rename this one Black, because we're actually going to fill this with a black color. And then do a second layer, duplicate layer, and name this one Fire. Now, make sure you're in your black layer, and you're going to go up to Edit, Fill, and then make sure, before you do that, make sure your foreground and background color in your toolbar over here, make sure it's the black, that's the foreground color. And to reset it, you can kind of use up here. And then when you go to the Fill Context menu, make sure Fore Color is selected. Make sure the opacity is set at 100% and hit OK. The next layer, your Fire layer, make sure you've clicked on that first. And we're going to desaturate that. So go to Image, Adjustments, and then Desaturate. Or you can hit black and white. And I'm having trouble finding it. Okay, there we go. Okay, the next step, you again always double check your layers and make sure you're in the right layer. So make sure the Fire layer is highlighted, and you're going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and select Invert. Alright, so now we're going to duplicate the Fire layer. So again, double check over here in your layer palette, and I'm going to show you a new way to duplicate. So you can sort of hold down your mouse and select that layer and then drag it to the layer icon at the bottom. It looks like a little sheet of paper folded at the corner. And that's another way to do it. Or you can just do it the old way, where you would go to Image, go to Layer, and then Duplicate Layer. So I just wanted to show you a new way. Now the next thing you're going to do while you're still in your Fire copy layer, you want to go to Image, Adjustments, and Invert. Oops! Nope, my bad, I made a mistake. So Edit, step backwards. My bad, don't do that. Or if you did it, do exactly what I did, step back in your history, or hit Edit backwards. So again, you're in your Fire copy, and I meant to go to Filter, okay? And then I was going to select Stylize, and then I want to select Fine Edges. Okay, so that's how it should look. Then we are going to go back up to Image, Adjustments, and then we're going to invert that layer again. Now you're going to duplicate that Fire copy layer again, so make sure it's highlighted. And again, you can either go to Layer, Duplicate Layer, or you can do that cool little method I showed you before where you click and hold down your mouse and sort of drag it down to this new layer icon, which again looks like a sheet of paper with a folded corner. Alright, so now we have a layer called Fire Copy 2, and I want you to go up to the blending mode. So the blending mode is this little box right here, and see that just popped up. It said set the blending mode for this layer. So click on it, and you've used this before, and this time we're going to use Screen, and it's going to, I don't know if you saw that, but it makes it a lot more brighter and more contrastier. So I want you guys to take a moment and save your work so far. So go to File, Save As, and rename it, something, fire, image. And then again, make sure you save it. You can, if you want, you can go to the L drive. I don't have access to it right now because I'm at home, but if you click on that and go to your class period, there's a folder, an individual folder where you can save your stuff. So go ahead and take a moment and do that. Okay, so the next step is that we are going to open one of our fire images, and I have a few for you guys to choose from. These are located in the L drive in your class period in a folder called Fire Textures, very similar to your stone textures, and so they're shaped differently, and you can use the ones that you feel will fit the composition and movement of your picture the best. So go to Window, Arrange, and then you want to float all in Windows so you can see both of your images at the same time. And then you are going to drag the fire image into your action image. So you do that by clicking the Move tool at the top of your toolbox. So activate that, and then you kind of click and hold down your mouse and sort of drag, I'm having trouble, and release it into your picture. This Paste Profile Mismatch menu or dialog will come up. Just hit OK. Don't worry about it. And then you can sort of move the fire image over to the side for now. And go ahead and delete, or not delete, but go ahead and close out that fire image and say no, that you don't want to save changes for that. Alright, your next step is you're going to be in that layer that you just dragged the fire. So we actually might want to rename this, maybe Fire Texture, and make sure that layer is highlighted, and then again go up to your blending mode, which is right above your layer palette. Right now it says normal, and we're going to make it screen again. And I'm sorry, I can't, there it is, screen. And then take your move, you're still in your move tool, and you can kind of move it around, and you can kind of get a sense of how we're going to kind of blend and sort of layer these two images together. Now this part might be a little difficult, so you might have to rewind, listen a couple times, and you might mess up and you might have to hit edit back and retry some things, but stay with it, okay? So the next step, make sure you're in your fire texture. This should be the very top layer in your layer palette, and make sure it's highlighted. You're going to go up to edit, and we're going to select free transform. Now in the past we've used transform, but this time I want you just to use the free transform. And then notice the bounding box around it. So this allows you to resize and rotate the image at the same time. So try to rotate your image. When you move your mouse sort of close to these little points right here, see I just resized it, but you should be able to move it, so, oh there, if you move it a little bit outside, see how the arrow curves? So you should be able to kind of turn it, and you do want to sort of rotate it so it's at a side angle. And I'm trying to do this on a laptop, so you should have an easier time at the workstation. There. And then you know, while you're in the free transform mode, you can move it. So kind of move it over. And then you can also resize it as well. And then just keep kind of moving it. And again, you want to be careful and sort of place it so it's just right. Okay, I'm gonna make it a little bit, I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit too. Maybe stretch it out. So again, see I'm having to spend a little bit of time doing it. So you guys try to, you know, try to take your time as well. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so once you're done doing the free transform, make sure you hit the enter key to confirm the change. Again, confirm that you're still in the fire texture layer and it's highlighted. And this time you are going to go back to edit, transform, and we're going to do something different. We're going to choose warp. So select that, and you'll notice that you have this sort of grid light box. And this is pretty cool and fun to play with. So you can kind of push these points and sort of warp your image. And what we're trying to go for is to kind of warp it so that the fire is sort of around her face. And this can take quite a bit of time. So again, this is something that may seem like I'm doing fast, but what I'm going to end up doing is pausing and try to get it to look the way I want, and then I'll restart the video. So again, you're just going to have to kind of play around and try to experiment, okay? And that's what you should be doing. So this should take a little bit of time. Don't get frustrated if it does. I'll be back and show you what mine eventually looks like. And once you're done with playing around with warping, one thing that you might want to do is go to, if you're still having trouble doing your warp, is to go to view fit on screen, because mine wasn't, it was only partially, so now I can see the whole thing. And I think if you do that, you'll have an easier time trying to use the warp tool. So once you're done with that, again, you have to hit enter. And so we have our warped fire texture. Then you are going to go to filter and liquefy. And then I need to give it a chance to load. Okay, so before we continue, there are a couple of things that you want to set your filter to. First, you want to check advanced mode. That gives you a few more options. And then once you do that, scroll down and you want to make sure show image is checked off, and then show backdrop. And that way you can kind of see the backdrop and what you're working with. Okay, so where it says tool options over here to the left, go ahead and set your brush size to 360 and your brush density at 50 and your brush pressure at 100. And so when you move your pointer out, it should be about that size. And so this is just the basic sort of liquefy tool. So you can see how you can kind of shape the flame around the hair a little bit better and refine it. So again, this is something that you do want to spend a little time on. Another tool that you might want to use, if you go over here to the right, you'll see this little icon menu bar here. There was a rotate, yeah. You want the twirl clockwise tool, and that I'm not sure why it's not working. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, it's because whenever you come over here, so like I selected this twirl clockwise tool, you need to go back over here to your tool options and change the brush size to 360.